Welcome to your 20-minute podcast with David Brower, brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/your20-minute podcast. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Now, here's your host, David Brower.
Here's part 2 of our interview with Heather Criswell, When Life is Rooted in Love.
I think that we can relate to each other through story, and that's been, generation after generation. We used to sit on the porch step and tell stories,
right,
around campfires, stories, because stories give us the opportunity to see ourselves in another story, in somebody else's story, and kind of work it out in that way, instead of it being, you're doing this wrong, you're not right. And certainly I think that everybody's story has a point to it and a way to come back to that love for themselves. So that's how I often share a lot of the wisdom that I've gathered along the way and help people remind them of that wisdom that they have and remind them who we are. Because over time we forget, we get into politics and we forget who we are. Because I have people that are on my Facebook page that I absolutely love and adore on the far, far left, and I have some on the far, far right, and they are the most amazing people on both ends.
Right.
And the beauty of it is that for me, I have to look past their posts and know who they are, who I know them to be, that I know that my friend that says, something about Trump, that he's great and that he is amazing, that whatever, and she says it in a way that could be offensive to other people. I have to look at him and say, I know who she is.
Yeah.
She is not an offensive person. She is one of the most kind-loving people I've ever been around. And on the left side, somebody that says that Trump is so wrong and so bad, and I know who you are. And when we can hold the space of who we are, then we can work on the skills to communicate how we work together, right? And
right,
how do we come together in that space when you have somebody that loves Trump and somebody hates Trump? Just using Trump as an example in this moment,
right,
because it's always in our media in this moment. But how do we see the greatness in each other and see the love in each other and know that love, and then say, okay, that's not who you are. So what are you trying to say here? Because that's not who you are.
Right.
I know you to be a really, compassionate, kind, caring person. What are you feeling here? What is this triggering for you? How can I support you and help you? And it's a real evolved state, right? And it's something that we have to work on consistently. I mean, it's a daily practice. It's a practice of not yelling at our kids. It's a practice of not flipping somebody off in the street when they, cut us off.
Right.
It's a practice of, I don't know your story. When you cut me off in driving, I don't know your story. But what I do know is that there's something going on that caused you to do this. And I'm going to give you a pass today. It's not going to say that I discount what you do. It's not going to say that you didn't put me in harm's way. What I am saying, I'm giving you a pass because I don't know. Maybe your wife is in the hospital. Maybe your kid has got hurt at school. Maybe you're on your way to a job where if you're late one more day, you're going to get fired and you're going to be out in the street. I don't know what your story is, but I can hold that space for you in love. Now, whether it's true or not, it doesn't even really matter because now I am free from the anger and frustration of what you did to me. I am now free. I have rooted for love for myself, which in turn frees you and in turn frees our community, right? So it creates this space, but it's a daily practice of, and when we have the moments, like if I yell at my son and I look at him and I say, Mommy made a mistake. I did not communicate properly. I did not communicate from my heart. From my heart is, we need to get in the car so that we can go to this event and be on time because we respect ourselves and we respect other people's time. That's what I should have said. So I'm going to work better to do that next time.
Good.
These are the
that's
skills
awesome.
that we, need to function. But it takes practice, right? Because it's so much easier to just be like, that guy's a jerk. My kid's
Well,
being a
yeah.
brat.
It's always easier to be disrespectful. It's always easier to be mean. It's always easier to, you really have to, like you say, you really have to make a conscious effort to do the right thing from a heartfelt communication style.
Right. And that's how we are born to be.
Yeah.
We don't look at any baby and say, oh my gosh, this baby's pure evil. We're going to have to teach him how to love. We don't do that.
No.
Babies just love.
We need to use the kids as mentors for us,
Exactly.
Because we've already left that place, and the kid or the grandkids or whatever, they're in that place where we used to be. They're in that place where we need to be. I need to pay more attention to how this kid's loving me.
Absolutely. And how they love themselves, too.
Right,
because,
right.
There's no 2-year-old that comes up to you and says, I have low self-esteem and self-worth. They don't.
Right.
They just don't.
Right. Yeah.
They come up and they say, I'm amazing. I'm great. I'm spectacular. Look at my art. Look at me. I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
And what happens is over time, unintentionally, we as adults say, oh, especially me being raised in the South,
Right.
oh, that's not nice. That's not humble. You're going to hurt other people's feelings. You're going to make people feel bad. Don't say those things. You just keep that to yourself. That's not being humble. That's egotistical.
Yeah.
And that's where we get it wrong, I believe. Is
Absolutely
that we come
right.
from that space,
Yeah.
of like, we are great. We deserve to stand up and be magical. That's what we were born to do.
Yeah. And praise that, acknowledge that and praise that in a meaningful way so that the kid goes, oh, it is okay to feel this way.
Yes. And I'm so happy that you're happy with yourself.
Right.
I am so proud of you for being the bright light you are on this planet, and if there are moments that are uncomfortable where, they say something or do something that is uncomfortable for us, that's our chance to say, why is this uncomfortable for me? Am I not seeing my own light? Am I not shining the way that this 2-year-old is shining? Am I uncomfortable standing in that space?
We have a Bible study group every Monday night, and one of the ladies in our group last week was telling us how she got in this car accident, and this lady ran into her, and she didn't know why. She didn't know if she was hurt. She had to go to the hospital, whatever. But when she got out of the car, caught her breath, and looked at the lady and walked over to the lady, instead of going into a tirade or asking for her insurance or whatever, she said, "Are you okay?"
Yes. Powerful.
Right? And she gave her a fist bump, and she said, "Call me later and let me know how you're doing." And that lady was speechless, right? Oh, my God. I'll never forget that story.
It is just, it's magical when we have those moments, because I had a similar story I witnessed a car accident, and I had my little 3-year-old at the time in the car Christmas Eve, and it was a very bad accident, and I pulled in right behind. I was the only one that witnessed it, pulled in right behind one of the cars and checked on her, and her car caught on fire.
Oh my
So we had to get her out, and I moved my truck, and then the other car, the woman was seriously injured, and I went over to her and I said, "Are you okay?" And she's like, I'm dying. I feel like I'm dying. And I said, "Well, let me tell you something. You have the most magical powers with you right here, right now, because all of my family is in heaven and they are supporting you and loving you. You have so many angels that are here for you. You picked the best place to have this happen with the best person that was going to witness it, because I am holding your hand and wrapping you in love, and they are too." And I will tell you, the same experience happened when we got out and the ambulance finally came. And of course, my son was still buckled in his seatbelt in the car.
Sure.
I went and grabbed him, and he's like, "Mommy, what's happening? I'm scared." And I remembered Mr. Rogers' mom said, "Always look for the helpers." And I said, "Look at all these helpers. Look at all these people making sure that everybody is here taken care of." People were coming out of their houses, fire, ambulance, everybody was there. And I said, this is what it means to be in love. No matter what happens to us, no matter what circumstances, we root for love for each other. And look at all these people loving on the people that are hurt. And we are going to wrap them in love. And she went off to the hospital. Her husband stayed behind. And I'll tell you, it was the most beautiful exchange of insurance, like you said, and
Right.
there were no ill will. There was no, you did this, no, you did that. It was just, I'm glad everybody's going to be okay. Please keep us posted on how your wife's doing. And we're all supporting you and loving you and having prayers that she is lifted up into love and greatness. And it was the most magical car accident that I've ever been a part of.
Right. Yeah. And it makes for such a wonderful, meaningful story to share with people that you talk to or make speeches to or whatever, because it's real, it's real life. And even though we may think it came out of a movie, guess what? It's real. That's pretty,
it's real.
Oh my gosh, what a blessing
it's
you are.
Real.
We're about out of time,
you.
and I want to get out as fast as 20 minutes in history.
It is.
Oh my God. So tell me, how do people get a hold of you? I know they go to wiseinside.com, and there is so much free information on there, so much talk and videos about Rise and Love and Shine. Is that where they start?
That's the best place to start. And of course, I'm on the social media platforms under Heather Criswell. But yeah, the best place to start is wiseinside.com. And like you said, there are a lot of free resources there to support people with raising a family, with people that have gone through grief and loss. I've authored a couple of books on each subject, and games to help support families connecting in a meaningful way. So there's just so much there to help us all stay rooted in love, because I think at the end, when my dad was in hospice, and at the last, and he was kind of comatose in and out, at the very last part, he said to me, and he was an agnostic, he did not believe in anything. And he said to me, I had the most amazing experience. And he said, it was my day, and we called it his day of enlightenment. But he said, I was taken in a cocoon, and it was like love. And I was taken to a place that the only words we have to describe is love. But he said it was so much more than love. He said there were colors you couldn't even imagine. He said it was the most magical place. And it really reminded me that who I am, and that there is so much more than just this body. And I'm so glad to leave and go on and see what's out there. He said, because it is love, and it's nothing that you can even imagine. It's so much more than love. He says there's no words to describe. So,
wow.
This is coming from an agnostic guy.
Right? That's called goosebumps on steroids right there.
Yes, exactly.
What an amazing
we call
thing.
it his day of enlightenment, and a few days later he passed on. And the night before he passed on, he said, I'm going on a mission. And he said, like an astronaut. And he said, I'm not going to be able to talk to you on the phone anymore, but I'll talk to you. He said, just listen for me. Wow. And he said, I'll be around, but I'm going on a mission now. So
well, he went on to be rooted in love in ways that he couldn't even imagine a week earlier.
Couldn't even imagine.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, yep. God bless you, my friend. This has been such a treat, and I hope people check you out at wiseinside.com, and continued happiness and love to you and your family.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for doing this so much. I appreciate you rooting for love for all of us.
You bet.
Your 20-minute podcast with David Brower has been brought to you by Audible. You can listen to any of David's podcasts anywhere podcasts can be found, including iHeartRadio, the Spotify mobile app, and at davidbrowervo.com/your20-minute podcast. Until next time, thanks for listening.